Hi, I'm Paul from the Studio Rats. In today's video, we're looking at this. This is the Boss IR2. This is the little brother of the Boss IR200. If you know about the IR200, you'll know what a fantastic unit that it is. But this one is a fully featured 11 amp simulator and IR pedal. Now, as this is getting released today, I reckon there's going to be loads of YouTubers doing videos explaining all the features of this. What I'm going to do is to record a track using the IR2 and explain some of the features as we're going along. So let's put down the first guitar part. Now we've got a choice of loads of different amps which are all selectable from this control here. Now the first part that I'm going to put down is going to be a clean part. So I could just use this clean amp here, but for this sort of song I want a bit more grit in it. So let's try the different amps. So this is the crunch amp. Now I like the tonality of that, but I want a little bit less gain and a bit more level, a bit more bass as well. So that's got a tiny bit of drive on it. Now we've got an ambience control, and this is like your reverb, and you've got a few different choices. Now I've set this to the plate reverb. If I turn it all the way off, so it just gives it a bit of space. What I'd like to do with this track is to have a big ambient reverb on that rhythm guitar. So Boss have just released the RV200, and the great thing about the IR2 is that it has a stereo effects loop built in. So what we can do is to plug in the stereo effects loop, and then incorporate other effects inside the chain. With incorporating the effects inside the RV200, my guitar now sounds like this. So let's use that sound and go for a take. So we've got the rhythm guitar part down. Let's record a bass part. Now the IR2 doesn't actually have a dedicated bass amp, but I used to use the IR200 to record bass all the time, and it sounds great. So before I start recording the bass, what I want to do with the IR2 is to take off the speaker simulation. So what I have to do is to set all of the controls like this, unplug the unit, hold down the button, plug it back in. Now we go into the setup mode, and what I want to do is to turn off the speaker simulation. So I move this control here over one notch, and that turns off the IRs. Now what I could do is to load in my own IRs, but I quite like a DI bass sound, and I want to use the preamp section and the EQ of the IR2 to do that. So let's get a bass sound. Now one of the things that I do want to do with the bass is to turn off the ambience, so I can bring this control all the way back. And I'll show you the difference. Turn it all the way back. Now even though this doesn't have a dedicated bass function, I think that's going to work really well. So let's record the bass part and see how we get on. So now that we've recorded the bass and the rhythm guitar, what I can do is to switch to a different sound. If I click on this button here, you'll see the LED turns red, and that means I've got a different tone up. So I can change all of these controls, and then when I click back to the green sound, that'll be the sound that I initially programmed when I had the green LED on. So let's switch back to the red. So again, I can choose from all these different sounds. So let's load in our own IR, because I think I can improve the sound of that even more. Now I want to record the lead part to this song. And with the pedal, you can also download the Boss IR2 IR loader. With that, you can download any IRs to the slots available. Now, as I'm going to be using the Brit amp, what I'm going to do is to click down here, and I'm going to choose the IR that I want. And one of my favorite IRs is this greenback that I've downloaded from Celestion. If I click open, it then loads that into that slot, and the sound of the IR is here. Now again, I can change that if I want to try something different. Let's try that one. Before I record this part, let's have a look at one more feature of the IR2, because it is a recording interface as well. If I plug a USB lead into the back and change the audio device in my DAW, I don't even need these cables attached anymore, because I'm recording through the USB out. So let's go for a take and see how we get on. Now I finished editing the video, but I thought I'd just go over some of the features of the IR2 just so you guys are fully informed. Right, it's got a USB interface. It says when connected to a computer or mobile device via USB, the IR2 functions as an audio interface, providing studio grade guitar tones using the selected amp cab simulation, perfect for DAW multitracking, capturing video, audio, or simply playing along with tracks. This convenient digital connection delivers premium quality playback record signals without the need for external gear. And that is a fantastic feature of this unit. I don't know of any device that's actually this compact that does such a great job at audio recording. It's got 11 amp types and IRs. It says the IR2 features 11 distinctive amp types, including simulations of several classic models, while the Boss amp and cabinet comes loaded with world-class Celestion Digital IRs out of the box. You can easily load your own IR cabinet sounds using the IR2 IR loader. So again, another fantastic feature of the IR2 is that it comes with a bunch of Celestion IRs, and they are absolutely fantastic. And the next feature is effects loop, and it says, much like a regular guitar amp, the IR2 features effects loop send and return jacks. Returns can be set to either mono or stereo, and note that the IR2's effects loop is placed after the amp cabinet simulation and before the ambience. So again, that's a fantastic feature to have. The fact that it's stereo as well means that you can have all of your sort of massive stereo time bass effects inside the signal chain. Right, next feature is ambience types, and it says amp and close mic cabinet sounds can appear overly direct and dry. Therefore, the IR2 features an ambience control to dial in natural sounding reverberations that complement your tone, and you can choose between room, hall and plate reverbs. Now, if you've seen a few of my videos, you'll know what a massive fan I am of reverbs, and I find it quite hard to play actually without a reverb, and the reverbs in this do sound fantastic. The next feature, it says 2 channels. You can alternate between 2 amp cab sims indicated by green or red LED. Simply by pressing the foot switch, the IR2 conveniently auto-saves each knob movement, enabling straightforward set and forget operation. Now that is fantastic. The fact that you don't actually have to save that preset, you can just sort of switch over to either the red or the green one, and it saves all of those settings instantly. And the last feature, headphone jack, it says you can monitor your performance and sound as well as playback from a computer or mobile device using a set of headphones connected to the phone stereo jack. A touch of ambience allows for a realistic amp in the room experience, and it really does that. I remember that from the IR200, where you plugged your headphones into it and it adds this sort of extra sort of spatial reverb, and I guess they're using that from the same sort of ambient settings that's in the Waza headphones. They do sound really great. So there you go. Now, if you're looking for a compact amp, sim and IR loading device, I don't really think you can do any better than the IR2. It is fantastic. It's more or less all the same sort of features that were in the IR200, but in a much smaller compact package. And it's a fantastic unit if you're the sort of guy that goes out and you're using either silent stages where you can't actually have an amplifier on stage, or you just want a really great sounding amp sim for recording, or you just want something in your gig bag just in case your amp goes down. I don't really think you can do any better than the IR2. Anyway, I'm Paul from the Studio Rats. Really hope you guys got something out of this video. If you did get something out of it, don't forget to like and subscribe. Click on the bell button and you'll be notified of any future video that comes out from the Studio Rats. I'm Paul and I'll see you next time. Cheers.